Welcome everybody, it's Sunday, so it's time for a new project. It's JOANNAMARQUET here, Lemon Creation, and today I'm gonna be working with my Queen Moth design I made, and I think this is the design I love the most. So another art journal page with Lindy's and Queen Moth. As you probably know already, this is my old book. I am reusing it and doing art journaling inside. It's actually in quite a bad state. The pages are falling apart, so I have to treat them before adding a new art journal page. I am using a ground or absorbent ground by Golden because, as you've seen in my previous videos, I actually feel that it's much nicer than the gesso, white gesso, for water-based paints, because it gives more bright color, more real color, while gesso dulls the colors for me. So I covered everything with the absorbent ground, and while still wet, I added Tin Roof Rusted embossing powder from Lindy, and this is a very funny powder, very special, because apart from having these small particles to emboss, it has also pieces of mica. So it works perfectly on big surfaces, as opposed to very intricate designs, you know, when you may lose these small, you know, shiny, can you see that? The shiny pieces of mica. And now I'm gonna be adding some Stamperia rice paper with a Pebeo matte gel, and I'm tearing the paper. Of course, there is this technique when you actually can wet the brush and just go over the contours of the paper and then tear it like that, much easier, but I kind of prefer like that, even if it's maybe harder, but you know, I don't have to think in advance how or where the tear will go, so you know, I just go like that with my hands on the dry paper. And I'm gonna be also adding some of the tissue paper from Tim Holtz. I'm gonna give you a list of all the products in the description box below, so like that you can check. I also give you the affiliate links to some of the products I can find in the shops, and you can use them if you wish to make a purchase. You know, it's not at any cost for you. I'm getting a very tiny commission out of that. And this is already the tissue from Tim Holtz, and this one is the new one I bought recently, and I love it. It's just so cool. There are numbers, there are letters, some kind of ledgers parts, and it looks grungy. It's very, very nice. It's one of my favorite products by far lately. And as you can see, I'm adding it where I feel fit on both sides of the art journal. Of course, I want to leave my negative space as well, because you know, me and negative space, we have a love affair, I think. And so the next step will be to dry it all, of course, a little bit. You don't have to dry too much because it's, you know, it's not that wet. And then I'm gonna add some super heavy gesso. You can of course use just regular white gesso. And this is again to dull a little bit of the, you know, black, especially this black which comes from tissue paper by Tim Holtz. I didn't want the contrast to be too big between the rice paper from Stamperia and tissue paper from Tim Holtz. And now I'm gonna be adding Lindy's colors, Time Travel Teal and Tawny Turquise. Tawny Turquise, it's a moonshadow mist. The base color of moonshadow mist is brown, but then they have addition of some sparkle. In this case, it's like a teal color, which you will see in a second. The whole idea when using these sprays is that you have to really shake it well, and you can see at the bottom of the bottle if you still have some residue of color which is not shaked properly. You have to continue shaking, even stir it with a brush, so you'll get the you know, this secondary color popping through on the page. And the Tawny Turquise, as you can see, it's completely teal. I added a tiny bit too much, so that's why I am diluting it with water, which is fine also, because running water with the color gives me a little bit of coloring to my negative space. Not too much, but just so it looks really nice and it looks kind of, you know, connected as always. And I'm drying it, of course, very well at this point because I'm gonna be adding some stamping. I'm gonna start with stamps by Stampers Anonymous by Tim Holtz and Versafine Vintage Sepia ink. I think I need to invest in some bigger ink pad, but those two stamps I also love so much. Tim Holtz has a really good product. You know, you can say whatever. You know, it really has good products. I really like it so much. And these stamps, Glitch 1 and Glitch 2, they are really one of my favorites also. You know, for somebody who likes grunge, it's just, or industrial, it's perfect. And I'm gonna add still a little bit of dark stamping because at this point I decided that I actually want a little bit of dark. I didn't stamp this part too well because, as I told you guys, my book is already very bulky. It's in a pretty bad shape already when I got it. When I found it, it was in a bad shape, and I'm trying to kind of, you know, put it all together. But because of this bulkiness, it's very hard to actually stamp. That's why I also like my art journals, which I make, because, you know, you can take the pages out and you can stamp on more or less flat surface, and this is not the case with the books. And then I'm gonna also, or I'm adding now a little bit of border with the Stazon. You can of course use Distress Oxide, for example, and as you can see here, I add way too much. I didn't like it, but you know, sometimes it goes like that. I think I didn't add too much of absorbent ground here, or maybe just the opposite, and it actually just, you know, got the ink got a big, like, you know, kind of stain there, which is not bad. And I also printed on the craft paper, not printed, I die cut on the craft paper a fantasy die. And this is gonna be my, you know, my focal point, my moth. And yes, thank you for subscribing. And I tear the die a little bit into pieces, and I like the idea that it's actually on the craft paper because I don't have to color it or anything, you know, it's just so intricate. To even emboss it, it will take me a while, but on the craft paper it looks nice. Okay, it doesn't have a shine, but for this page I didn't really need a shine, so it's perfect like that. And when I fuzzy cut my moth, I didn't, you know, didn't darken the edges. I always like to darken the edges so there is not this white startling, you know, edge. And because normally, guys, you use a impair, I don't know if it's not an even number on your page. If you use focal points, for example, you use either 1 or 3, you know. And I had actually, I didn't want to use 3 because I was thinking, this is the book which comes from. I didn't want to use 3 because I thought it's gonna be too much. I cut the second one in half, like that. I said, okay, it's a little less, you know, I don't know, less unbalanced, I think, if that's a good word. And I wanted to add, to cover a little bit of the, you know, of the black on the borders, and I'm using a Peacock feather Distress Oxide to do it. And a little bit of water on the brush, because, you know, they are oxides, so, you know, that will take away a little bit of the color, the water, as you can see, especially on the top corner on the left. And a little bit of Poinciana, I think, red flame spray, to add a little bit of this kind of rusty effect, because this is whole, like, you know, patina, rusty, you know, vintage kind of feel to this page, with a grunge on top of it. And the last piece of the puzzle, it's gonna be a sentence which I took from my super messy words, and I darken it a little with the sepia, vintage sepia, and as always, links to all the products are in the description box below. I will be very happy if you have a look at in my shop. It's a tiny shop still, but I am coming up with more and more products, and today I should have actually the book with black and white designs. So if you check it out, I will be very happy. And I hope I'm gonna see you in the next video. I wish you a beautiful day as always. I hope you enjoy this one, and see you soon. Bye bye.